How are you guys? Today I've decided to do a different thing. I've decided to vlog and give a story that I've wanted to give for a very long time, but I was not confident enough to do a vlog. So this is a story that I wanted to share with you of how I made my first million. And the story is not about bragging or anything. It's about inspiring people. Maybe after leaving high school, people who get frustrated, they didn't go to college or university. And being in an African setup, those things can frustrate a lot of people. So I want to share this story just to give you insights on how even you can do it and maybe get successful in future. So the story starts when I was in Form 1. When I was in Form 1, I didn't used to spend a lot of money because my parents could give me fare to school. It was a boarding school. The school was 30 kilometers away from my home, so I used to walk and save the money. I used to save 200 shillings, that's roughly $2, to go to school. So after breaking for midterm, I could also walk home. Then after midterm, walk back to school again and save another 200 shillings. And then during the closing day, I will walk home. So in a term, I used to save fare 4 times, 200 times 4, and that is 800 shillings. So in a year, I used to save 800 times 3, that is 2,400. So plus my pocket money. I didn't use to buy bread at school, so I used to save all the money. So by the end of the year, I had around 3,500, that's around $35, and I used the money to buy a calf, a male calf. That I gave the calf to my parents so that they will look after it. And after 4 years, I was done with my high school. So I'd saved a lot of money, and I'd saved around 5,000 Kenyan shillings. And after the sale of and after I sold the calf that I'd bought then, now a bigger bull, I sold it at around 30,000. So plus the 5,000 that I had saved, I had around 35,000 Kenya shillings. So I used the money to start a business, and this is how I started the business. Back then there was no electricity around here, and I saw a niche that was not captured by anybody else, charging those phones. So people had problems charging the phones. They used to take the phones to neighbors so that they could be charged using solar systems. And the solar was there. The solars were very inefficient to charge the phones then because people used to buy very small units. So I identified that market gap that was not utilized by anybody else. And then I saw a market niche that was underutilized, charging those phones. Every home had a phone, but no charging ports because there were no electricity. But there were people who had solar units, solar chargers that they used to charge for people, but they were inefficient because back then people used to buy very small solar units, so they were very inefficient. So I went to town. I bought a generator, a very cheap Chinese generator for around 7,000 Kenya shillings, that's around $70. And I bought chargers, a lot of chargers. The chargers were going like for $1 or 100 shillings each. And then I had made an extension board from my physics project. So and then I bought a shaving machine. Then I went out and I rented a small wooden house. Back then it was around 400 shillings or $4. So I renovated it a bit and I used it to start my first business. And that was it. So I put up a charging station with a barber shop. I didn't know how to shave, but I just bought the shaving machine anyways. So after starting the business didn't take long to pick up because there was a very great problem with charging the phones. So people started noticing that I'm charging the phones efficiently, and they started bringing their phones. So after around a month, I was charging around 150 phones to 200 phones daily on daily basis, and that was very good business. I used to charge 20 shillings, that's around $0.2 for every phone to charge. So in the evening, I had made around 3,000 to 4,000 Kenya shillings, that's around $30 to $40 every day from charging those phones, and that was a very, very good business by then. After leaving school, I had nothing, and I was making such a great amount of money, and I didn't know how to use the money, so I saved all the money. I kept the money in a piggy bank, and after a year of of doing the business, I was also shaving. So the money that I got from shaving, I was using the money to pay for my lunch and to pay rent. So the rent was very little money. It was around it was 400 shillings. So the shaving that I was doing was covering rent, and it was covering the food, because I was taking breakfast in my parents' house, and also supper I was taking it in my parents' house, so it was free. So at the end of that year, I had made around 1.3 million shillings, because every day I was making around 3,000 to 4,000 Kenya shillings, and in a month I was making around 100,000 Kenya shillings. So in a year I had made around 1.2 to 1.3 million shillings, and I had the money because I was not spending the money. In fact, the whole year I didn't even buy clothes or even a new shoe. So saving the money was a very nice thing for me to do. So I didn't want to spend the money. I wanted to keep all the money in the piggy bank. Unfortunately, by the end of first year in business, the government decided to get electricity to that place. So it was very bad news for me. It was very good news to people who are staying in that place, but it was a very bad news for me, because that meant a lot of people could get access to electricity, so they will not be bringing phones to me for charging. And that's the time that business nosedived, and it almost crashed. From around 150 phones to 200 phones a day, I started charging around 20 phones, because other people started doing the business after the electricity arrived. And finally I had to close the business because it was not doing that well. But fortunately, my admission letter to college came through, and I went to college. That story taught me a lot of things in life. You just need to show up. You just need to show up and to work smart, because if you work smart and you show up and you become patient and consistent, automatically you'll get successful. And you put God first, automatically you'll become successful. Everything in this life has a cost, and the cost of success is working hard and working smart and showing up every day. Opportunity only comes once in a man's life, and I took that opportunity very well, and I exploited that opportunity nicely, and it did well. So after high school, you could do a lot of things. There are a lot of things that you can do. You just go and identify what are people lacking, because money is a reward for solving other people's problems. So if you give value to people, they will pay you, and in turn you'll get successful. So you just go out there, find something that you can do. Find a gap that is not utilized by anybody, or a gap that is not exploited by anybody, or a gap that people have already exploited but they have unexploited. So you take the opportunity and create a business on top of that gap. And that's it for today's vlog. I hope it went well and I hope it did add value to your life. Please, if you find this video it's very helpful, please subscribe and please like the video, so that the YouTube will pick the video and share it to other people. And that's it. Thank you for today, and see you in the next educational video.